Red maple is the most widely planted species of tree across the entire United States. When you have the opportunity to plant them where people can do the observational studies for themselves, that's why we're here today. I'm Philip Gruszka. I'm the retired Director of Horticulture and Forestry for the Pittsburgh Parks Conservancy. We're in Frick Park this afternoon to look at a continuation of a study that we did on red maple trees. Once we looked at the genetics of the London plane tree and had that paper published, there was a lot of skepticism within the horticultural community. And so Dr. Morton and myself, we went and did a literature search, and we looked at all across the United States, what's the number one tree species that is planted? It was a red maple. And so the Garden Club of Allegheny County graciously funded, yet again, another genetic diversity study. So we said, well, if we can do the genetic study on red maple, maybe we'll have a greater impact on the greater horticultural community. As we looked through the park system for native red maples, it was really difficult to find them because they weren't in a very high abundance. So for us to be able to have an effective database, we had to go outside of the city of Pittsburgh into our county parks, and we would find the red maple growing there. What we found was the same story as what we published about the London plane trees. The native growing trees, the straight species, genetic diversity all over the chart. And when we looked at the cultivars, each cultivar lacked any genetic diversity. But when we compared a cultivar to a cultivar, there was a little bit of difference, but nothing compared to our wild population. It doesn't take a trained eye to see that all these trees along Schenley Drive here are identical. And so as you look down this planting both ways, you look at the growth habit of the tree with these ascending branches, and then you come out and you begin to look at the leaves. These leaves are a little bit larger, but when you look at the serrations, they're identical. And as you look down at each one of these trees here, they all exhibit the same characteristics. This screams for, genetic diversity. This cries out that we should be planting other species here. What we did here in Frick Park is we wanted to understand these cultivars in a greater sense. In this part of Frick Park, we planted different cultivars of red maple so that we could observe them over time and formulate our own opinion, because to date, all we know is what we have read in sales brochures and seen in catalogs. And as we're here and I look up on this hillside, I can see these red maples which have that very upright growth habit. Well, those are the same cultivar, but these are all red maples, but that's a different cultivar. So by using red maple cultivars, we are diversifying the amount of genetic material, but not nearly to the extent that we could by planting a straight species. And that's what the value of this study is going to be, is to hopefully change the mindset of urban foresters and the horticultural community that grow trees for sale. Utilizing cultivars, it's not a bad thing. We're not condemning it, but what we're trying to bring to the forefront is that we have these native trees that have lived in everything that Pittsburgh could throw at it for how many hundreds of years, and why aren't we propagating those trees? It works. It's just we need to change our mindset. It'll be the next generation of urban foresters that will benefit from us having planted these trees. I was just looking up on that hillside where that bench is at, and I'm thinking in 10 years, I want to be sitting up there when these maples are in fall color, because it will be spectacular.
This video is made possible thanks to the Margaret Ritchie R. Battle Family Charitable Fund.